School sucks.
Yeah, friends are nice.
Sort of. Learning can be interesting. Sometimes. Break and lunchtimes were great. Because that wasn't the school bit. The rest just sucked. How and why suck became a negative word, I don't know. Like, sucking, what makes that a bad thing? Sucking time from my day, maybe. I don't know. But how do we reduce the suckage? I spent a month researching the UK education system, and I still don't understand. Like, I thought this would be simple, but what? To start with, the UK education system doesn't really exist. Each country has its own system, saying the British system is poo-poo. Each country in Great Britain have different systems. PISA, not pizza, assess national education systems. That is a story for another day, but they have UK as a system. Yes, the UK government runs the English system, but Scotland, Wales, or Northern Ireland are all different. They even show that in their assessments, so why lump them together? Writing the differences would have given me a bigger word count, for the essay. Then I realised I'm not being assessed, so tables. Tables are evil. You look at them and think, oh, that is nice and organised. Not too big, must not have taken too long. Do you see this? Well, if you're looking at the screen and aren't blind, this took me 2 hours to make. Why? Because Scotland. School is from 5 to 16, 4 to 16, or 5 to 18, and the school years start in September, July, March, and 2 different months in the same year. As someone who went to a school in England, Christmas in Scotland confused me. Students born in certain months in a year can leave at Christmas. Like, what? England and Wales, a solid 32.5 hour week, or average 6.5 hour day, GCSE maths, helped me here. The 0.5 is 30 minutes. But the minimum time doesn't apply to early years, further education, or specialist settings. Northern Ireland have 200 days, unlike the English 190, and a minimum day length of 3 hours, or 4.5 hours, younger or older than 8. So I think their days are shorter. Scotland have shorter weeks, 25 or 27.5 in primary and secondary, respectively. Again, shorter. And further education is only mandatory in England, from 16 to 18, kind of 19. So I had a longer day and week, and had to be in education for more years. I wouldn't say those are the same system, with about 14 weeks of holiday between the 3 terms. Of course, the holidays not being at the same time of year each year, because that would be easy, and some types of schools being able to pick their breaks, so schools don't match either. 38 weeks of school, with 5 hours less in Scotland per week, means they have 190 less school hours a year. For the 5 years of secondary school, that is 950 hours. That is like 44 days. Put that into awake hours, and you're closer to 80 days. Yeah, very manipulative numbers, but just emphasizing my point here. That is a lot of potential sport, gaming, or just fun I missed out on. I know testing is despised by most people. Teachers don't really like them, parents are not normally fans, and students certainly don't like them. Unless you're weird. If you are a student that likes exams, come at me. I will fight you. Verbally, of course. Physical violence is bad. We can say what we want on the internet, right? Obviously biased here, but looking at what I've found, English students, teacher assessments in the early years. English students, phonic testing in Year 1. English students, SAT testing in Year 2 through Year 6. But only teacher assessments in the other 3 countries. Oh, and English students, a multiplication test in Year 4? Like, calculators and phones have been around for how long now? I was in school longer and took more exams. How is this fair? Then to GCSEs. Table. Look at the table. Why? Why can't they be the same? There are 6 exam boards which give exams on the same subjects, some easier than others for certain students. 1 board from Wales, 1 Northern Ireland, 1 Scotland. Just wait till I get to Scotland. But the actual grades students get are also different. You, then 1 through 9 in England, but all the others using different combinations of letters. Northern Ireland. What is with the C star? As you can see, Scotland didn't take the GCSEs, so do Scottish Nationals 4 and 5 instead. Nat 4 is pass or fail, and Nat 5 being like a GCSE, just with A, B, C, fail. The qualification bit of the table is because the alphabet of names try and keep all qualifications comparative, which begs the question, why are the frickin' grade differences? This isn't like the 11 plus, which is a selective exam some primary students take to get into secondary schools. No, these are to help you get into further education, which is mandatory. Even if you fail, you still need to go, unless I'm missing something. So, what are the grades for? All I can come up with is school league tables. Schools are like businesses and need clients, pupils. The higher the ranking, the more pupils they get, the more money they get, and the ranking is based off exams and Ofsted results. The more separated the exam results, 4 through 9, the more variation you can give in a school ranking. Just an educated guess here. I got sick of looking at government websites. But further education, exams, assessments, time do count for the next step. The years in school, of course, are different, so year 12 and 13, upper, lower 6th, or S5 and or S6 are part of FE, further education. There are far too many types of assessments for me to understand, but A-levels or A2, AS levels, T levels, and BTEC courses have loads of variations from the different exam boards and subjects. Then Scotland with their Scottish Highers and Advanced Highers. Totally the same systems here. All these assessments get you points. It's like in Mario collecting coins to get another life. I shall not work. And once you have those points, you can go to uni or university. Higher education. But before we get there, I want to address a couple of things first. In Scotland, you can not only leave at Christmas, you can also go to university earlier and do a 4-year degree. I don't think it is common, but still doable. Then again, if a Scottish person goes to a Scottish university, they don't need to pay tuition fees, so maybe money is less of a concern? And if we cycle back to the schools for a bit, whoa, the names. Another lovely looking table, but like, why? Why can't they be the same? Yeah, some schools only have certain year groups in, but there must be an easier way. I mean, these types of schools, I had never heard of some of these before looking into the UK education system. These are just the ones in England. I didn't want to look at the other countries as well. This was meant to be a quick research project. Look at this. St. Catherine's College is not a college and is a school. A Church of England school, but not a faith school, an academy. So St. Catherine's College is a faith academy. It's as clear as mud now. Pause if you actually want to read this, but notice all the local authorities that, I think, help run schools and academy trusts with school governing bodies. I don't get politics, but councillors are elected, not necessarily with knowledge of educational science. So, from what I can see, the average adult working for the council or school body is making decisions about schools and education with limited educational science as evidence for the decisions being made. Kinda raises some red flags for me, especially as the schools, as mentioned earlier, are run kinda like businesses looking to get high rankings and good grades. Forget those additional subjects, focus on core, they are the exams that matter. Don't get me started on the content of the exams, like, ugh. But I went to look at the curriculum, whatever that means, to find out what is meant to be taught at schools, the guidelines, if you will. Turns out the national curriculum has subjects to follow, as expected, but most school types don't need to follow it. Faith schools and community schools don't seem to have flexibility, but if they become academies, they get more control. And with every school being assessed by Ofsted, again, another story for another time, if you get an inadequate rating, you're encouraged to become an academy. I think that is meant as a punishment, because it is shifting the responsibilities, but that comes with more control, which could be seen as a reward. I just don't get the logic. Thus, love that word, the curriculum doesn't really guide teachers. It is the content of the exams more than anything, I think. And with the school managers, whoever they are, wanting good grades, the philosophy of education is test-driven. So saying, this should be taught in school, why wasn't that taught in school, my child should, or shouldn't, have been told this, it doesn't seem to be up to the teachers. If there isn't a test for it, are they doing their job? Kind of opening a can of worms right now, but the teachers are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland have taken different approaches to the national curriculum. Not a subject focus, but purpose, area, principle, capacity focused. In theory, it looks great. What it looks like or will look like, I have no idea. The OECD compass, related to the PISA story I'm avoiding for this video, is what the new Welsh curriculum is based from. Again, reads great, but what does that look like in practice? To me, the potential changes to the exams, having more technology emphasis and nicer marking, may have a greater impact to the day-to-day lessons. But with teachers designing the curriculum and head teachers having more control of what achievement outcomes look like, I think that will reduce the suckage of lesson experiences, assuming the teachers are any good, of course. What is a good teacher? It depends. During my degree in sports coaching, the definition of effective coaching is what I like to use, which I think applies to teaching: the consistent application of integrated professional, interpersonal and intrapersonal knowledge to improve athletes' competence, confidence, connection and character in specific coaching contexts. Which is a lot to unpack. A story for another time, but that's my brief answer, somewhat avoiding the question. A higher education, on the other hand, is pretty similar across the UK. That isn't to say it's a simple system, because it definitely isn't, but the system suckage is for drastically different reasons. Assessments, exams, tests, the qualifications that you get are at the root of most school issues. Competing exam boards, stressed students, overworked teachers, test-focused lessons, school league tables, curriculum selection. But too many students going to university. Inexperienced people in educational science making big decisions. Teacher education being a luxury many teachers don't really have the time for, and general funding for resources are all reasons contributing to the suckage of the school experience. I would like to think technology, the internet, and other principles from educational science can be used to help, but this is what I'm learning.